Hey CBT Nuggeteers, my name is Anthony. I'm your community mentor for ICND1, Cisco and JNCIA Juniper. Okay, so I just wanted to create this help video just to cover an issue that I first encountered when I first approached IT many years ago, and when I really realised that I wanted to move from data cabling and pursue a networking role. And I gotta tell you, I was so overwhelmed. There was so much information out there. For example, let's just talk about Juniper, which is a recent encounter of mine. But just by I found it quite difficult to find. Not difficult, but I found it not as out there as other vendors like Cisco or even HP or Huawei, and not that it's not out there, I just didn't know where to look. So I always tend to focus my energy on CBT Nuggets website. I'll see what they've got available, and I'll create a document with resources, and this is something that I'll do at the very beginning when approaching a certification. I'll create on pen or paper, and eventually I'll transfer it into OneNote or I'll transfer it into Evernote. I'm always one for experimenting, so I do enjoy changing how I do things, keeping things fresh. For example, this is a very recent topic for me. As you can see on the screen now, is the Juniper Enterprise and Routing and Switching Certification track. I will be starting this very soon. I have been creating my CBT Nuggets playlist, which I would suggest you have a look at for your certification. If you're going for something like the ICND1, for example, or the JNCIA, CBT Nuggets will have them courses already all listed for us, in order, in a nice format. But you can always create your own preferred playlist, which is a fantastic option we have available to us. But yeah, just going back to this. So what would I do when I'm preparing to study? I go straight to the source and I go to Juniper. So as you can see, I'm on the juniper.net website, which is their main website. All I have done is hit the training and just gone to the relevant exam topic, which is the routing and switching certification track. And as you can see, we have all the details required for the exam code and how many questions we'd look to face. I tend not to worry too much about this at the beginning. I know there's a certification, I know the exam number, I've wrote that down. I can forget about that for now. Where I will focus my energy is these exam objectives. So what would I do with these? I've approached this a number of different ways. I've handwritten them out. What I would suggest or recommend is if you have a notepad specifically for each certification. So for example, I have a notepad for ICND1, I've got a notepad for ICND2, I have a notepad for the JNCIA, I've got a notepad for CCNP switch. You see where I'm going. I have a notepad for each exam. This is where I just randomly note things down, completely random. This is where I'll just grab my notebook, I'll be researching the exam topic, I'll write something down, I'll then start collating that information and I'll start understanding where I need to move forward and focus. As I said, exam objectives, what I tend to do now as well is, for example, I'll open up the first objective in the list. As we can see, it's layer 2 switching and VLANs. Awesome feature is the old copy and paste. So what, copy, and I'll just go over to my OneNote. As you can see, I have previously just created a quick page just to roughly highlight. It's for the JNCIS ENT. So what can we do? Let's just drop our first exam blueprint in here. Okay, and I didn't copy the title, which is no problem. Let's just get layer 2 switching and VLANs. So we can just add layer 2 switching and VLANs. Fantastic. Alright, this is my online document. As I said, I do use notepad and paper, and I do tend to cross-reference a lot of stuff between my computer, laptop and my pen and paper. It's more for so I don't miss something. I don't always have my laptop or iPad available. I do tend to have my notepads in the house or always where I am. I do stick the relevant notepad in my bag when I go to work. So obviously I do tend to try and focus on the one exam at a time. And this, just going back to try not to get overwhelmed, it's a massive issue, especially in IT. I found it was so overwhelming, just trying to figure out what path I wanted to take. I remember sitting down at my laptop and just looking at Windows and Cisco and Active Directory, servers, then networking, and I was like, oh wow, do I need to know all of this? The answer to that is no, you don't. You really don't. Spend a little time figuring out what path you want to take. If you want to be a systems administrator, if you want to work in development operations, if you want to be a NOC engineer and work with multiple vendors like myself, if you want to be a specific installation IP engineer, then great. You will not need to know everything in IT. A lot of the time you just need to be aware of it. You just need to, for example, for networking, you just need to be aware of what your network will be serving and how you can best design that network to serve those purposes. This was a massive sticking point for me. I really did struggle at the beginning with this. I honestly thought I needed to learn everything, as far as across to web design. I have wasted a lot of time figuring all this out, and I don't want you guys to have the same issues that I did. So what I'm just trying to say is, don't be overwhelmed. Focus on the area that you want to be and you really enjoy, the area you love reading about, or the area that really captures your attention, and move on from there. So as I said, at the moment for me it's Juniper. I've got a real passion for Cisco, which I'll always have. I will be covering Cisco certification as far as I can go, and also I do really enjoy Juniper. So at the moment I'm focusing on Juniper, JNCIS, ENT, and as I said, I will just collate all this information into my notepad. I would also take the link for reference and just drop it into my notepad somewhere. Just really just building that resource that I wanna build as much information that is as relevant as possible. That is what I'm trying to say here. So we've got a library of useful resources that we can take forward, we can improve, we can work independently, we can work effectively, we can work confidently. So basically, I'll have my notepad, I'll have OneNote, I'll have CBT nuggets, and I'll also have the vendor specifically to the certification information, and I'll spend a lot of time researching that specific area, so I understand what prerequisites I may need. So if we just go back to this web page, we can actually see quickly, just by looking at this, the order that these exams are actually listed is the order you would want to take them in. So you would have to start with the JNCIA JUNOS before you could take on the JNCIS Enterprise, and obviously before you can take the professional level and then the expert level. It may seem obvious, but it's not to someone going in to a brand new certification right at the bottom. It's so overwhelming, and I'm really highlighting the overwhelming factor, and try not to be bogged down by this. Be confident, enjoy the topic, find out specifically what you need to pass that exam. Going back to Juniper, as you can see here, the preparation, they do have resources available to us. There is a video that I've created about Junos Genius and the other additional resources, which I found fantastic. But for this video, I just wanted to highlight the main points for me was: don't be overwhelmed, prepare, have a varied amount of resources, but try not to take on too many. And yeah, that, I think for this video, that's where I'll leave it. As I said before, my name is Anthony. I'm the community mentor for JNCIA Juniper and ICND1 for Cisco, and I'll be back soon. Thanks. Goodbye.